Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, Season 4, Episode 21. It is October 16th, 2025. We are 317 days, only 317 days away from Elk Season.
It'll be here before we know it.
We are the Chambers Brothers. My name is Harold.
I'm David.
And today on the Elk Season Podcast,
Elk season, hunting season.
Elk Season.
Recap.
We haven't had a podcast since August.
Yeah, like 2 weeks before the hunting season began. So it's been about 2 months.
And we were lucky to get that in.
Yeah, we were.
Because in August I was moving. By the way, the house sold.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, and in the first week it sold.
Great.
Full price offer.
Great.
You know, extra inspections, no, nothing, just
nice.
Yeah.
Just clean and simple.
yeah. And so that's a big relief. I live out on a farm now. And
ding, 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 ding.
And it's so cool. It's so cool. There's so much that needs to be done. I got places to plant berries next year. I have
You
five
want some raspberries?
5 or 6 different fruit trees. I think I have 3 apple trees, 2 pear trees, a plum tree, and an apricot tree.
Very nice.
So much that I don't know how to take care of. I don't know the first thing about. But
Well, we can talk.
right. I'll learn. I got a chicken coop.
Cool. You have chickens yet?
Nope. But April, it's already in the plans.
Nice.
My daughter does so well with animals.
Yeah, that's right.
We have 2 cats.
Okay.
That are farm cats. They're not allowed in the house.
Say you didn't have those cats before.
No, we didn't.
They're just out there. Okay.
And they are already spoiled.
They know where to go.
They
talked about her being good with the dogs. So.
She's so good. She just has an innate. She just thinks about them all the time. They're outside. It's raining. You know, I just want to make sure, check on their food, give them some love. They're farm cats. You go outside and the first thing they do is show you their belly.
Yeah.
Hi.
So they're not feral, to say the least.
No. They do. They will nip at you to get your attention.
Oh, okay.
Not like puncture you, but you can feel them nibbling.
Hey.
Like, hey,
I'm
get
here.
off my porch.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, it's nice to have the elbow room. It is, there's pros and cons. One of the cons is just the drive. I'm going through a tank of gas a week instead of half that much. It's a lot of running around. But anyways, so we got moved, and we got moved before elk season started. And so elk season was a mess mentally for me anyway.
Right.
Trying to
balancing all those things is a process.
Oh, it was just so much.
You worked so hard to get out of your house that you would come over here for one of the last podcasts and you're just exhausted.
Oh.
But you're like, I need the reprieve. I needed to get away from it for a minute.
Yeah, and elk season was a great bit of rest. I said over Labor Day weekend that I hiked blisters into the backs of both of my heels, and it was the most rest I'd had in a month.
Excellent. Sorry, I just noticed that my mic has been quiet, and so I just wanted to turn it up. Now it looks a little bit better. You can see it, being more like
I don't
yours.
know if I told you that I hiked blisters into backs of both of my heels.
I think I remember us hiking out, and you were saying that.
And it was the most rest I've had in a month.
Yeah, you did say that.
And it's an honest statement. I mean, what's great about September is when you get close to the equinox, right? There's 12 hours of darkness.
Yeah.
You have to spend there's only 13 hours of shooting time.
Yeah, you're required to have downtime.
11 hours of downtime. So I got so much rest during elk season. I miss it. I miss it for the rest I was getting.
It's crazy to see how the days have gotten shorter and shorter since that time.
Yeah.
Because it's like darker and darker in the mornings. And that's going to change when we have, the days aren't going to change the amount of daylight, but our perception of the daylight available is going to change because we're going to fall back soon. But,
right.
No, I'm glad you got rested and glad that you were able to get everything done that you needed to in order to have this I don't know what you would call it, but it's a new direction of housing in life.
It's a new chapter. It's probably a new addition. Right? We were in the house for 20 years.
That's a change, man. That's like losing a family member almost.
So it's been interesting, and it's been fun, and it's been mostly crazy. But you do what you have to get done, and you just keep moving forward. Elk season. So let's talk about Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend. We got up there. We traveled separately, but did you get up there before? You got up there before me.
No, because you saw the bear.
Oh, we got up there before
That's the
you.
bear weekend.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm thinking the end of the month.
You and your son went up.
So Bram and I got up there, and we knew where to meet because you'd give
Yep.
us some pretty good details. We were almost there. We're not quite there, but
Yeah.
we were pretty close. So we set up camp, and then we're just scouting. We're trying, it's actually we're not allowed to hunt, but we can at least scout,
Sure.
and that's what we ended up doing because hunting season opened on Saturday rather than Friday. So Bram and I got up there on Friday.
And Friday is my wife's birthday.
Yeah.
The 29th is my wife's birthday. The 30th is opening day in Idaho. It's always the day before and the day after.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
Anyway,
a busy day, a couple of days.
so that's why I wasn't there. I was having dinner with my wife.
Yeah, so we were up there, and let's see, what did we do? Wow,
It had rained on the way in.
It rained all the way in. I realized we got up there late because Bram has to get out of school at 3:30.
Yeah.
So by the time we get up there, we have so much daylight to hike. So we didn't get to do much scouting other than what we saw on our way up.
Okay.
And so there were some deer down at the trailhead. There was a specific doe that was really calm.
Yeah.
And was coming, like, she was only like
Complacent.
10, 15 yards away from us off the trail. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know that I would want to, because Bram has a
he does.
mule tag. Now, the season isn't open, so he couldn't have shot it anyway.
Oh,
but I
okay.
don't know that I'd want to. With a deer acting that docile, it kind of makes me nervous.
Yeah, you've seen that before, though, out in 55. You've gotten
But-
really close to some very
Yeah.
small deer, though.
Some big deer, though. I guess
Yeah.
I've seen them both. This deer just looked odd to me. But
Okay.
either way, you're right. Now that I think about it, I'm just overreacting because the CWD has come into
Yeah.
our mix.
Yeah.
And CWD has one of the trait markers is they're more docile and less afraid.
Right.
And but also you have to take into consideration maybe not CWD because this is a trailhead. I see mule deer at the trailhead all the time, and with the number of hikers that come in and out of there that are not necessarily hunting that species,
Yeah.
maybe it's just docile for that because of
Yeah,
exposure.
maybe.
But we got up to our campsite. We set up basically in the dark, but the next morning we went on a quick scouting. And I can't remember if we saw elk were always on the other side of the mount or the other side of the valley from where we're at. But while I was thinking that you were going to get up there, maybe I want to say 10 or 11. And so I was in my mind, that's where you're at in my mind. So we're sitting down. I'm on the hillside. I'm looking over at what we call the cross, and I see this huge black bear.
Yeah.
It's the biggest black bear I've ever seen in my life, and he's foraging, or it's foraging. And I'm just like, it's there for like a half an hour. I watched this thing.
Yeah.
And then it disappears. And about 10, 15 minutes later, and I forget what time it was, but I see a hat bebopping up the hillside. I'm like, oh, here comes Harold, not a hunter. I thought it was another hunter, but then I was like, but that's Harold. I was expecting you in the next hour or so.
Yeah.
And so you had just missed seeing this bear.
Oh,
literally on your way up.
Did I tell you I have let's see, did I have him? I got footage of the bear.
Yeah.
On a
and
trail cam.
So so later on this hike, we went out and we put some trail cams up on that side.
Yeah.
And so where we put that trail cam, you were having a bit of a rough time with your right arm, and not being
that's
a lefty.
Right. Oh gosh.
So the tree that you're trying to put this camera on, and Bram and I usually just hang out while you do your thing.
Right.
But I look over and it's like you can't use your right arm and you are using your left arm, and there's a lot of big branches, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's work for a lefty right there. I'm left-handed, so I came over and I was like, let me help you out.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. I mean, I would have got there eventually.
But you also already had stuff, blisters going on with your feet and things. So you sat down, and the first thing you did is you took your boots off and you started addressing the sores
and
that you were starting
I
to
taped
get.
my heels.
So it was good teamwork, and I was happy to help out because I just felt bad. But I can stake a little bit more claim to the credit for not. It was your device.
I really appreciate it.
It was a big bear that you got, and I'm pretty sure it was the same one. His huge.
Oh man, I got a picture of his poop. Have I showed you that
Belly
one?
dragging the ground. No, I don't.
Oh
I don't know
man,
that I want to see that.
I took a picture of his poop right next to my boot, so
Maybe
you
you did
can
show me
see
that.
how giant it is.
It was a big boy.
He was.
And
he was.
I
big,
think he was out foraging when we saw him because it rained overnight.
Yeah,
and you have
mushrooms
and stuff, and where he was at, we've seen a lot of mushroom growth over there. So, and he was definitely foraging. Just where you see him go to a spot, he puts his nose down, he scrapes a little bit, put his nose back down, then he kept just doing that all over the place.
Wow.
And so the next day, I think we saw elk come through there right where he was at, but we weren't able to close the deal on those elk. But.
So yeah, I recorded on that trail cam. I have 3 good videos. One is of a big 6x6 pushing his 3 cows and a spike through.
Yep.
And I told you that situation, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where we spotted the spike and the cows, but we never saw the bull. We spooked them later. We ended up spooking them right past that camera.
That's right.
And but we never saw the bull until the bull was on camera, because he was careful not to be seen. So I got 2 other videos. A week later, I think it was Wednesday, September 17th, in a 15-minute span, a 5-point bull elk and the bear.
Yeah.
And the only 2 videos that I got on that camera.
Wow. Yeah.
Within 15 minutes.
And I just remembered that you had come across an old, near where we were at, there's an old blind.
Yeah, it's a tree stand.
And so there's the tree stand, yes. And so Bram and I were hiking up. I did forget this. So it's still daylight, but it's not hunt. We can't technically hunt. But as we're climbing up, we're on the steep part of the trail right before it smooths out.
Yeah.
And actually, we were not on the steep part. We were on the smoothed out part, headed up to our final destination at camp. And a spike and a cow came through. And Bram was like, "Oh my gosh!" They were like within 50 yards of us.
They crossed your trail, right? Beneath you. Yeah.
No, they crossed in front of us.
Oh, okay.
And then they ran off. You actually got them on camera because they spooked over to where one of your other cameras is.
That's right.
So that was kind of cool. We thought we spooked the next morning when we went on we found the tree stand, but we didn't find it initially. We went on this big loop, and on our loop back, we spooked a deer, a mule deer. And Bram's excited because he has a tag for a mule deer, and we kept following it. He never saw it, but I knew it was there. I mean, and we kept spooking it, and I thought maybe we would have spooked it it went right through where your camera was at, where the tree stand was. But it never triggered, and we didn't even trigger the tree stand camera.
Oh wow!
So, but
wow,
lots of look. We're kind of rambling here about our hunting.
That's okay. That's okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I think what's really remarkable about this place is even though we might have slumps of seeing animals, there's a lot to do and a lot to find, and there's always an animal somewhere.
Oh yeah.
When you get out there. So it's just a remarkable little honey hole of hunting where
it's
we
great.
go.
It's a great place.
Despite the lack of not harvesting.
The next weekend you couldn't make it. I went out with Lance. We hiked, we glassed. He got close to some elk, but the elk weren't talking. When you get in close to them, they weren't talking. So, and then the next weekend, you couldn't make it out, and I couldn't make it out.
Right. We had obligations back home.
And the next weekend, we came out, but we had one day.
Yeah, it was
right. It's breakneck speed.
One and done. Bram came with me.
Yeah, you come out on a Friday night, you hike up, you spend Saturday night. If nothing's close on Sunday morning, you hike back down. Try to make the McMuffin cutoff.
Yeah.
Which I still have not had a McMuffin.
Neither have I.
Man, what a good sandwich.
But we explored. What's funny is, this is embarrassing for me. I've thrown fits about going into the backyard.
Yeah.
Because it is a little bit more of a hike. But, if I'm going to throw a fit when I have time to go back there, you'd think that I would throw a bigger fit if we have less time. And this year, though, for whatever reason, my head was just in the space of like, let's go to the backyard.
Yeah.
Like, let's just go there. I felt like the pressure was pretty heavy in our regular spots.
Yeah.
But basically, Labor Day weekend kind of said, there's a lot of people up there.
Things had changed. And
so that weekend that Bram and I came up, we hiked our butt off, but we went to the backyard. And we got to some vantage point that it's almost 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
And we didn't end up seeing anything of note, so we hiked out. But that changed the following weekend.
Yeah, so the following weekend, I had arranged to take time off of work. From Tuesday, I took off. I went up on Tuesday, but I stayed Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and you came up on Friday night, and we hunted on Saturday and Sunday together.
Yes.
Now, I had never spent that much time that late in the rut. So usually during elk season, we're pretty antsy. We want to get out there. I spend all my money and all my extra time, right? All my free time early in the season, just because I'm too impatient. And this year there was just a lot going on early in the season, and I just couldn't do it. My wife was out of town for one of those weekends, so we had a babysitter, or my oldest son came to stay with the kids. And then one weekend we had Comic-Con, which was with the radio station. So I just had to stay in town. Now, so I didn't get. I've never been able to observe the rut, to observe elk in that much time that late in September. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I noticed was nothing for 3 days.
Yeah, it was pretty barren.
It was incredible because I know every spot in there.
Yeah,
and it was incredible how barren it became. So that was enlightening to me. And then being able to text, one of the new things I have is I bought a new iPhone so I can text home, which is really nice.
It's a nice little feature.
Yeah. But I'm also able to text some other buddies that are out hunting nearby. And I'm like, man, what's going on? The elk are gone. They're not talking. He's like, oh, they're right by us. Oh, they're going crazy. I'm like, oh man. And so that kept me
hopeful,
very hopeful.
Okay.
Right. And also they told me kind of where they were. And I'm like, well, they're far away from their trailhead as really far away from my trailhead. It's the same spot. It's the backyard.
Yeah.
And so they told me, and I go, all right, I won't go in on Friday. I'll rest on Friday. Yeah. And so Friday I rested a lot. And I rested in a new hammock.
Yeah, that's
right. My Eagle's Nest outdoors bridge hammock.
Gear alert.
It is the most excellent, restful sleep I've ever gotten in the woods. Ever.
It was so good.
I bought 2 more. I went right back to Sierra Trading Post and I found them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they've been marked down again.
How long ago was that? Because I'm like, I think I might have missed my opportunity here. I just keep forgetting that we have a Sierra now too.
I got 2 more. I think they were both $29. Most of them were $34. And I called Lance. I go, hey man, those things are down to like $35. And so he went back and got one too.
Wow.
Anyway, so I was really, really, really impressed. I mean, just the gathered end hammock is fine and it's warm. Guys, well, it was a little bit colder in this new hammock. Mm-hmm. But we can fix that because I was using the gathered end hammock accessories to warm my other hammock. Anyway, just a great, great piece of equipment. And so I rested all day Friday. Friday, I took 1 shot all season long, and I killed 1 grouse.
Yeah.
And
congratulations.
Very happy about that. It was
Hunting
delicious.
Success alert.
You got to pack it with butter and wrap it in bacon and add so much fat to it to get it to taste good. So, but it was, it was fun. It was good and rewarding. But what I learned about the rut. So I'll stop there as far as anecdotes go, and then I'll transfer to elk behavior. But first, tell me your experience up until that final Saturday morning.
So we just hadn't seen much all year, and I already mentioned that the pressure up there just seemed to be a little bit more intense right off the trails. Yeah. So one of the things we noticed, but all weekends.
Did the pressure seem more intense because there were fewer elk?
Well, I think the pressure causes the elk to push to different locations, so we perceive fewer elk. But I don't think there really was I think there were fewer elk, but not as few as you'd think. I think they were just pushed out because we have other hunters that are up there daily.
Yes,
just blowing their bugle horns like it's going to do something.
Bugling straight up and down because it works for some guys.
But time and time again in our area, whenever I hear and see people doing that, because I've seen them do it too, it pushes the elk. And when the elk aren't talking back regularly, making that much noise is not really productive.
Right.
And so it's more annoying than it is anything. So PSA, like I prefer this method, and I know that you have something similar. You can share your approach. Like whoever comes across this, calling strategy 101, listen for what the animals are doing and mimic that sound. Don't just go in mindlessly blowing noises, because that creates pressure that pushes them.
Yeah.
And you've talked about this great analogy of, look, if I'm within a certain distance of the elk, they'll want to come see me. But if I'm beyond that distance, they're like, I don't want anything to do with you.
Right.
And more often than not, you have not gone the distance as a hunter in those situations where they're blowing their horns all the time, where they're going to be proximal to an elk that's going to want to come in and see him. They're going to be away from the elk that are going to push the elk. And so I feel like the pressure from those behaviors, and that's the worst I've ever heard it up there, people blowing their horns all the time, which is, I don't know if that's the right
We had one,
phrase.
that one Saturday night was just completely ruined because that guy was hiking all up and down the ridge.
And he just,
screaming,
we thought,
screaming.
And it's like, we thought we had an elk at first, but then it became obvious as we got out, and we're like, well, let's just go back to camp, because we don't have enough time to go anywhere else. And right here in this valley that we're camped at, this has basically been flushed out out because of this pressure. So it wasn't as many elk, but I still think there's a lot of good elk up there, which
Of course.
we just have to know the area very well. So know your area and know where to hike when pressure is tight. So we chose, more often than not, to go to the backyard. But I had to get up there. I was just by myself. Bram had to stay back to work on his homework. And so I got up there. I got up there pretty timely, surprisingly, given the circumstance. And I was ready to go the next morning into the backyard.
Yeah.
And so my experience to this point was still educational and informative, because I like to know, even though I'm not happy with what other hunters might do that create unnecessary pressure for themselves, let alone other hunters.
Right.
It gives me a chance to still learn about what it does to the animals up there.
Right.
And so it's all part of the experience that we learn from. So not happy about it, but can't control other people's behavior, but I can learn from it. And then I make decisions based on that. And I think our decisions based on that were bountiful once we got to a certain point.
Yeah.
And that's where this last weekend came in. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it was late rut.
Yeah.
And so we set up a calling scenario, and I called in 2 bull elk.
Well, before we get there, let's talk about how we got to so we're going to go to the backyard. It's a place that's off the beaten path. It's where elk are likely to go when they're being pressured. We've chased elk back there because we've pressured them. Yeah. We find elk back there just because of pressure. So it's a place that can be a honey hole. Yeah. On our way there, though, we go through what we call the lounge. We have to traverse it. And we actually bumped a small group of elk out of the lounge this particular morning. Yeah. And we didn't quite figure out where they went, but we went through the kitchen, and then we eventually end up in the backyard. And in the backyard is where we think we've chased these elk to.
Right. So what we're observing is different than what we had observed previously. Mm-hmm. Right. Previously, it was Labor Day weekend, we observed bachelor groups.
Right.
Right. As the rut progresses, these bachelor groups break apart. And sometimes 2 or even 3 weeks into the rut, these bachelor groups break apart. And if there's any spikes in those bachelor groups, sometimes the spikes stay with mom.
Right.
Sometimes the spikes go out with the boys. And when those boys break up for the first time, these spikes are on their own.
Yeah.
These spikes are really genuinely on their own, and they're scared of their own shadow.
They are skittish.
They'll do a lot of alarm barks. I have been barked at so much.
They're scared of their own shadow, but they're also innately curious.
Yes.
So
because it's the rut, and they have all these emotions, all these feelings that are sort of prepubescent, if you'll give me that, for a spike, right? And so having observed that, now as the rut progresses, these pretend bulls keep their harem. Now, these 5 or 6 points even have, and we've seen them, good-sized elk.
Oh, yeah.
With cows. In fact, I say, if you see cows, just go. There's going to be a bull close.
Yeah.
Well, that was not the case late in the rut.
Right.
It changed. And the bull behavior changed as well. So I've never had I've never had tremendous success bugling. Calling elk, yes. Bugling, not so much. So what I observed late rut in the backyard this year showed me that, yes, when a bull elk is far away, I can call them in. Now, we had a very similar situation just the year before, right? There's a bull with a group of elk. There's another bull with a group of elk. I start my calling sequence, which is all cow calls,
Yes.
and I call in a bull that has no cows.
Yes.
What happened the last Saturday? I called in 2 bulls that had no cows.
Right.
What happened the next morning? I tried to call in a bull that had cows and was unsuccessful.
Right.
So now I have used that same calling sequence to call a bull away from his cows. With actually Lance did it for me, right? So we see a bull with some cows. I go, just do this one particular call, and I think we were close enough to call him over to us.
Mm-hmm.
And he came right to him. It was very effective. But I would say, and my observation is, and my understanding now is that if you do want that herd bull, you do have to get inside his fight zone.
Yep.
And bugle, not cow talk.
Yeah.
You have to become that threat, because as the rut progresses, now he's like, these are my girls. I've got him locked down. Earlier in the season, maybe he does have some girls locked down, but you bugle at him and he'll go, come on, girls, let's go.
Yep.
I don't feel like fighting. It's not time to breed. I'm not going to fight.
Nope.
Let's go, girls. And I've seen him run off. But so I think my tactic for calling that Sunday morning, because we come all the way back from the backyard, and we're like, listen, Sunday morning's tight. We got to go. If there's not elk screaming on the
Sorry,
ridge.
it took me a second. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Sunday morning, if there's not
there.
elk screaming on the ridge we're sleeping on, we're going.
And then they were screaming all
As
night.
soon as we got back to camp, there was an
started-
elk screaming. It's screaming all night long.
And so where we camp, just for clarification for some of the things we've said, we camp in proximity to where we can hear hunters down below,
Yeah.
or we can hear elk up above. And so sometimes the calling sounds ambiguous, and so that led to the previous weekend. We thought we had an elk nearby, but it turned out to be a hunter.
Right.
But what's a clear indication that you're dealing with a hunter versus an elk? Well, how much daylight is there? Because we got back to camp, it's dark, we can no longer hunt. So in theory, no hunter should be out there bugling. So you listen for the bugles that happen, and
Right.
you go, that's likely an elk. And if they continue through the night, then you're definitely dealing with an elk. And that's what we experienced. You said you heard it more often than not. I actually don't remember hearing all that much. I thought I heard it when we went to bed, but then as I kept waking up in the middle of the night, I wasn't hearing anything. So I was like, well, that kind of shot the morning. But then as soon as I got up, I started hearing it again.
Yeah.
And so
it was on the regular. It
Yeah.
was on the regular. When I was tossing and turning in my hammock, I would go, oh, it's I'll lay
excitement,
awake.
yeah.
I'll lay awake just for a minute, see if I can hear him.
But we
And
just
then I'd
couldn't
fall asleep.
But we just couldn't get that guy to come down.
Yeah, and I think probably because he had cows and
We were too
we
far
didn't
away.
get close enough. We weren't in his fight zone.
Right.
And
Getting to his fight zone from our location.
he was interested for sure, but he's not going to leave all of his cows for one cow.
Yeah.
The calling situation the day before on Saturday was
Kind of unique.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Because of the decoy.
Yes. So let's set the stage here of
Yeah.
how this started to
Oh
unfold.
yeah, because we have to talk about RFT. We got to talk about RFT.
It's embarrassing, but funny at the same time. Like I'm still a little embarrassed about it, but at the same time, I have to own it. Okay, so this is me owning it. But so we're following. So the story ended a little bit ago where we chased him into the backyard. And
Right.
We're trying to catch up
Right.
with him, and we're because they have a bull with them.
Right.
And we kept hearing a bugle. That's why we kept chasing. And so we're following, but we stopped hearing anything. But we were like, we have a strategy to go into this particular location of the backyard, and which means we're going to go into the stand of trees back there.
Right.
But before we get to the stand of trees, we start hearing bugles, and we're like, okay, this is weird. It sounded pretty close. And then from where we were at, we go, okay, well, I can't remember how it unfolded because we were right next to the stand of trees, but we stopped because we heard it. And then we're like, there's got to be something somewhere. And then I heard it and I go, oh, that sounded like it was right across from us. So we stop and we start glassing.
Yeah.
And
I'm glassing and he's glassing. And
So-
you know what it's like when you're glassing? You're looking at a whole mountain.
yeah.
There's like
But-
3 mountains there.
But there's a particular place that I'm aware of that you're not as familiar with until this scenario.
Right.
That I'm aware of in my head that I go, I'm going to keep checking this place. And what it is, the first weekend I ever hunted in this location, I hiked to the backyard and I spotted this wallow. It's an exposed wallow. It's not under, like it's right on the hillside. It's right there. And the second day I was up there, had a great opportunity with a 4-point and a spike the day before. Didn't close the deal, but this time I'm here at the backyard, my first time ever, and I look across and I see a full-grown 5-point elk wallowing in this open wallow, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's 2:00 in the afternoon.
Wow.
I'm a half a mile away as the crow flies, but I'm going to go over there. I'm going to see. And so and we've talked about this on the podcast before early on. I hiked over to their proximity. I got disoriented, wasn't familiar with the area, but I got close to where that wallow was, and I started to realize I need to get some better orientation. So I stepped out of the trees to kind of see if I could get a better angle, and that was my downfall, because the bull and the cow were like 30 yards away from me.
Wow.
And I watched them turn tail and run. In fact, I think you and I found their escape route when we hiked down into that gully.
Oh yeah,
when we
yeah,
were
yeah.
hiking out. I think that's about where they were at, and they ducked out right there. But either way, I know that this is there, and I always look for it, and I always check it because I saw a bull in it. If you see a spot on the hillside, even if you travel to that place, it's not going to stick out in your mind as something. So you just don't have the experience I have.
Right.
My brain hits this switch when I look on that day, the last day, where there's a bull rutting in this thing again. So it's the second time I've seen a bull rut in this wallow, and I'm like, he's right flipping there.
He's right there.
And you're all, where?
Right. And I'm thinking where, because normally, you have this shorthand between you and your hunting partners. Okay, you see that peak, you see the stand of trees, you see this rock outcrop, go left from there. So I'm like, okay, where do you see him? I'm looking for directions, like on the side of the hill, he's on the left, he's on the right.
I'm so overcome with the emotion of excitement of seeing this guy. I can't get into that function, and I know that I should have gone there, but I was like, well, how do you not see? I start reacting like you're a child.
And so the first time you said, he's right there.
He's right there.
He's right there.
Just look at him. He's in the wallow.
And I'm like, okay, I looked, and I'm like, I need more words. I need a little more something descriptive. And I had to ask you again, where is he?
So bad.
And you said, right effing there. I'm like, oh, you didn't say effing first. If you would have said effing the first time, I'd have been like, oh, okay, well, now I see him.
And then I started to catch on to what was going on. I had to slow down, but then by that time you had already just found him on your own.
Yeah, you regulated yourself just fine.
But not really. I mean, you don't. That's not regulation when you just react like that. But I did get back to zero quickly.
Yeah.
But holy crap! And then it dawned on me. I'm just like, oh, geez. And immediately I'm like, and I haven't stopped apologizing, but because I feel so dumb. Like, how did I?
So now that situation came up, and you're like, what's the plan? And I'm like, first of all, if he can hear us, we can hear him. Last year, I called in a bullet from further away than that, and I can do it again. Let's set up right here.
So I go down about 40, 50 yards from you.
Yeah.
Because I have this idea, like below us at the edge of the trees, I'm thinking, how are they going to traverse to come around to us? And I see an opening. There's a clearing below us. I feel like for some reason, an animal would come out there. And there's this really big tree I can take cover next to and just be set up. And so I go down next to that tree. You start calling, and this thing is responding.
Yeah.
He is.
As soon as I do a cow call, he responds, and we had the decoy up.
Yes.
And if I can see the elk from across the mountain without binoculars, I'm sure he can see the decoy.
Right.
And so I believe it was helpful in that situation.
I think so too. And so you keep calling, and I'm next to this tree. Now I'm on. So if the stand of trees is to my right, there's a little bit of a clearing, and then there's this big tree that I'm next to, but I'm on the left of this tree in proximity to this. And what I needed to be was on the right side of this tree. But I started to hear the branches breaking. Now, I didn't see the other bull come. I didn't see the bull across. I say the other bull. So spoiler alert. I didn't see the bull that we initially talked to come down at all. But I'm like, it's either over here that fast or this is another bull, but I wasn't sure. But I heard the ruffling or the rustling of the trees. And when elk go through a forest, they're loud.
Right.
And so I'm like,
They can
okay,
be.
here he comes.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why I did this. I really don't. I go, I want to be on the other side of this tree, but I don't want to expose myself coming around the front of it. So I want to go around the back of it.
Yeah.
And if I had gone around the front of it, it would have been a much different story than what is about to unfold. But I go around the back of this tree, and all of a sudden, out of this forest comes this really nice raghorn. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have. He's symmetrical, but he doesn't have a lot of tines. But he's got tall tines, maybe a 3 or 4 point.
Okay. Great. Yeah.
And he comes marching out, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in the wrong spot. So I realize that he goes down below the tree. He can't see me again, so I'm going to go back over to the left side. But here's the thing: if I would have stayed put,
Yeah.
he would have been well within 40 yards,
Oh,
which I'm highly, highly confident with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
We shoot 40 all the time. 40's great.
But because of where I was, I moved myself back, and now I'm too much exposed for movement because he starts coming around the other side of this tree.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what I was thinking. It's new equipment. It's the elk
exciting,
thing for the
yeah.
bow.
Yeah.
It falls off my bow.
Yeah.
And creates a little bit of a noise. Just that little bit of noise. And he looks over at me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And so he's really interested in you because you keep calling. And I don't realize that you don't see him.
I didn't know he was there because meanwhile, there's a bull across the way that I'm watching march back and forth
Yeah.
and scream his head off. And I'm trying to have a conversation with him. I'm trying to say, come here, big fella. So he rutted once. He wallowed once in front of us in that
Yeah.
hole. And then after this raghorn.
Well, let's finish the raghorn. Let me finish the raghorn. So this raghorn is super curious in what you're doing, but he sees me, so he goes that much farther out of range. But
Right.
he doesn't want to leave completely. So he's not like
'Cause there's a
super
decoy.
spooked. Yeah, he's like, and I'm moving slow and still, so he's not completely spooked, but he just moved a little bit. He just moved out of range.
Yeah.
And elk, I've seen that do a dozen times. If they're not sure what you are, but they're a little bit nervous, they just go that much farther. It's almost as if they know
Right.
you're not going to shoot me out here. And so he goes over to my left, maybe another 150 yards, and he hangs out by this aspen, and he just stares back up at you. But at this point, to kind of help him stay calm, I start calling.
Right.
Which we now know is confusing. And I would only call to make sure that if this animal has a chance of coming back, I'm just going to give some calls to let him know, hey, maybe it's not as bad as you think.
Right. Right.
And then after a while, I eventually came back up to you.
Right.
But we still have this guy screaming at us from across the way. And
Right.
that's when we saw him wallow.
And we have
Again.
two rules. The shooter doesn't move and the shooter doesn't call.
I broke both rules.
Okay. Well, you broke one. The shooter can call if there's a proximity warning, right? If there's something that comes close, if you have a shot, or if something comes close and you want and you've spooked
The other
him,
rule, though,
then
I did break.
You want
And
him
that
coming
was
back.
moved.
So that one I don't count, but I did when it happened because I didn't know
Right.
you'd seen an elk.
Right.
But after that, I'm like, oh yeah, you just shouldn't have moved.
And
But-
and where that bull stared up at you from by that aspen tree was right in view, but you were looking the other direction. So I just felt bad because if you would have just looked to your left once within that 10, 15
I was trying
minutes,
to keep a lower profile than the
Yeah.
decoy.
it's crazy. But anyway, we
So-
decide we got to set up again.
So meanwhile, this guy is marching back and forth, and he goes back to wallow again,
Yeah.
and then he heads straight for us.
Yeah, we see
didn't
him
know
head in- but we see him head into the woods, and we're
Yeah.
like, well, maybe he's up to something. So
Yeah.
we got into the woods because we were going to try to go over to him.
He's going. He's heading to our right, which
Yes.
is where the wind is headed.
Right.
And I wanted to cut him off if he was coming that far. I didn't know if he was gonna.
Right.
I didn't know that he was gonna, but man, he did. He came all the way around the mountain.
And we got back up and we set back up.
Yeah.
And you went around and you continued calling, and I didn't move this time. I
Yeah.
did sit still, and I didn't touch my reeds.
But you heard him bust.
I heard him bust,
And
and I was like,
When they bust out,
I was
know it.
like, what in the heck? So I was thinking it was round 2 because I heard a similar noise with the raghorn.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, here he comes. Like I actually was sitting down, but I usually shoot standing up. So I went ahead and just stood up where I was at. So
Yeah.
I did technically move, but it was incidental movement because he wasn't in view yet.
Right.
But I didn't. It took me a minute to realize, he busted out of here because because usually, earlier I heard that noise and within 30, 40 seconds, here comes that other bull.
Yeah.
And so this time I thought, okay, it's almost here. Like I'm getting excited.
Yeah.
And he doesn't come. And then
we heard him bugle because we went into the trees. We went into past the tree line,
close,
and we heard him bugle. And we realized how close he was. I almost dropped a brick in my pants.
Yeah,
because he was so loud.
But my heart dropped when you stepped around from your tree when you were calling, and you took out your wind indicator and you shake it and you spray it, and it goes right to me.
Yeah,
and I go, oh, he winded the wind
us.
shifted.
He winded us,
and so. But he was coming in.
He had to go a long ways around to wind us.
Yeah,
but he did. He was a big 6x6 too.
Yeah,
he was a nice elk. But
elk.
again, without cows.
Without cows, yeah.
So, anyways, absolutely fascinating elk behavior. Seeing the behavior with cows and without cows, and putting the pieces together between all the years of experience.
Yeah,
and understanding broad behavior.
Exactly.
Of late rut
and all the balancing acts you have to do with other hunters, your own mentality, your own physicality.
Yeah.
A wet year, dry year. We saw no moisture up there while we were hunting. It was always dry, sunny, and warm.
Yeah, wasn't as warm as last year, but very warm. Did have a little bit of rain with the mushrooms popping up, but.
Yeah, we didn't. We drove up in the rain, but we didn't hike up in the rain.
I did pack my tarp for my hammock, but I never used it. All 5 nights I packed that thing around, but all 5 nights I never needed it. It was really nice because I think it's called an Eagle's Nest Outdoor Stargazer hammock.
Oh, okay.
So tiny. It's not very big at all. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
but still useful.
I'm really happy about my hammock. And what else? I had another piece of equipment I thought. The phone. Being able to text home was a big deal. And
I didn't bring it in with me. I showed you right before here. I 3D printed some replacement parts for my Jetboil.
Yeah.
Which is very handy.
Yeah.
But we'll say that we did see other animals while we were up there. When that bull spooked, this was an interesting part of the story. That bull spooked out of there.
Yeah.
I thought he had run over to the other side to go back up near the wallow because I saw a big animal.
Right.
But it ended up being this really big fat mule deer. Yeah. And there was actually 3 of them. And they looked like they had been spooked. And that's when I realized that this guy had run off, but he had spooked these mule deer. And they ran up to a spot and then they calmed down and they went back to grazing. And we actually came across those mule deer later that day.
Right. It's two does and a spike, right?
Yeah, big, a little like 2-point. Not
okay.
They was big, fat 2-point, but they were out of range, even though I had a tag. I just like, man. But you said you saw a cow. I didn't see the cow.
The cow elk, yeah, that just came out of the woods right. We were on one edge of the forest. They were on the other.
Yeah.
They just came out, grazed for a minute. Yeah, that was crazy.
But, and then saw a lot of moose this year, too. So.
I don't think I saw a moose this year.
Yeah, we saw 3 moose on our way up. Bram and I did the second to last weekend.
Yeah.
And then we saw 3 moose on the main road, but then we saw 2 moose right close to the trailhead.
Oh, okay.
It's basically down in the valley.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was a rutting moose. Didn't he show you the video?
Yeah, the video of him running.
Yeah, he was just right by the car. He was like, "Geez, man, don't get out and mess with that guy."
Yeah,
he's looking for someone else to mess with.
Yeah, moose are cool.
But
they're big.
And bear, just seeing the big animals. Fat bear, man.
The big fat bear and this big fat bear poop.
Yeah,
man, good times.
Oh, and I forgot to mention this. The first weekend, I woke up in the middle of the night before you got up there.
Oh yeah.
So this is actually kind of bizarre. I got to share this whole thing.
Please.
I woke up from a dream about Graham Greene.
Yeah.
And Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
And then I heard wolves howl.
Wow.
And then 2 days later, over that weekend, Graham Greene passed away.
Oh, that's right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what it means, but I dig it.
Yeah, hearing the wolves, I thought I heard them once. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But it's so fun. It's so cool to hear them.
Yeah, and to each their own on their opinions, but I think it's cool that they're out there.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I think hunters put more pressure on the elk than they do. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get back to ecosystem and
Other
conservation talk and conservation news.
And if we go mule hunting,
and mule deer hunting, and also to see as the 2025 archery elk hits YouTube, to see some of that and to see how their experience compares to ours.
Absolutely.
That's what that really is helpful.
That's fun in the beginning of the year to have that to look forward to.
It is. So, all right.
Hungry.
Until next time. Cheers. Goodbye.
In the morning light, before dawn, bow grip tight, heart beating strong. Through the forest, ancient giants roam, in the land where the wild calls me home. Through the whispering pines and the autumn breeze, driven by the chase, crisp air I breathe. With every step I take, earth beneath my feet. In nature's beauty where the hunter and elk meet. The mountains rise, kissed by the sun. In September, where I belong, bugles echo loudly through the veil, a symphony of an ancient tale. Through the whispering pines and the autumn breeze, driven by the chase, crisp air I breathe. With every step I take, earth beneath my feet. In nature's beauty where the hunter and elk meet. Silent as the morning mist, I travel on with careful grace. Every shadow, every sound surrounds me in this wild embrace. The challenge and the thrill, the patience and the skill, in the dance of life and nature, my heart's forever filled. As the sun sets, shadows long and deep, I find my place with the memories I keep. The chase and the beauty of a day gone by. Deep in the mountains, my spirit cries. Through the whispering pines and the autumn breeze, driven by the chase, crisp air I breathe. With every step I take, earth beneath my feet. In nature's beauty, out where the hunter and elk meet. Here's to the wild places where the elk and I both roam. The chase that brings us closer to the place that I call home. In the stillness of the forest, in the grandeur of the land, I am one with nature's wonder, with my bow here